What up, y'all? It's time for our next
Yo,
episode.
yo.
Go ahead and say hi, gentlemen.
What's good, YouTube? It's just Dave.
What's up, man? It's Ryan Stone.
Nice, and I'm SoCal, Honey Badger. There's a lot to discuss. Lot to discuss right now. Literally, the news just came in. Ryan, you want to go over that? Because you're the one that texted me this shit.
Ooh, I can't believe it. Cesaro has left WWE.
Honestly, I don't blame him at this point. Honestly, I seen this one coming, definitely.
I'll be honest,
I
I
did.
didn't. I didn't. I
Ah,
thought this guy was going to be a lifer. He might not be the world champ and main eventing, but he was constantly being used. He was on TV, it seemed like almost every week. I haven't watched lately, so I couldn't tell you if he was, but when I was always seeing Cesaro. And he was always
right,
putting
right.
on awesome matches.
I think that the
Yeah,
reality has finally hit that like he realizes, yo, dude, they're never gonna give me a decent run. Like I'm gonna be like the tag team utility guy. I'll put over whoever's next for the Intercontinental belt, and occasionally they'll keep me strong by giving me the tag belts. And that's gonna be my career. That's what his career's been.
you know what is crazy? Because it's like when Cesaro won the what is it, the Andre the Giant Memorial
Yeah,
Battle Royal? Man,
yeah, at 30.
it looked at WrestleMania 30. I thought he was gonna get a big push, and he became a Paul Heyman guy,
The
and
very
I was
next
like.
night. Yep.
Man, I just thought the push was gonna go crazy from there, but he just never got that push I think he really wanted. And
No.
I think
even
he's
with the
gonna
match
be
with Reigns, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think he's gonna go down as the next Christian. Like that's honestly where I see his career going. He's gonna go to AEW or NWA or Impact. Wherever he goes, he's gonna become a fucking legend, and he's gonna be the one main event legend that was never a main event for the majority of his career at WWE. Just like Christian. Christian didn't even he
True.
never even got a run with what he got the world heavyweight title and the ECW belt that meant nothing, right? And he got the
True.
world heavyweight title for like a day, and that's his main event run
Yeah.
in WWE.
Yep.
2011 too, yeah. I remember that. And it sucks because I feel like the world heavyweight title lost a lot of credibility during that
Mhm.
time too. In my opinion, I feel like the WWE had more like
The only belt that has
I
any credibility to me is the WWE belt.
yeah,
Like
true.
it's got the prestige, it's got the legacy, it's got the former champions. Like the world heavyweight title, like they just gave that shit to Triple H. Like if they would have kept it as the
Yep.
Yeah.
WCW title, I'd have been like, all right, man. But like they're just like, hey, we invented a belt and we gave it to Triple H. Like the Universal title at least had a tournament, but like the world heavyweight
Yeah,
title was always just like a joke belt to me.
true.
It got hot
And
potatoed too many times.
too many times. I
Well,
remember when Famous beat Brian in like what a few seconds at Mania. I was like,
Yep.
wow.
He's probably not. Brian's probably not complaining about that
Oh
though.
no, he's not though. No, definitely
That
not.
launched his career.
Yeah,
That's
if
when
anything,
everyone started chanting everything for him, and
he
the
was
next
getting over.
Mania. Yeah, the next Mania he was in the main event.
Drew.
Yeah.
that just came
Yeah,
out of
I just
nowhere.
couldn't believe it that Cesaro walked, but his contract expired. He just didn't resign, so he's free to go wherever he wants now.
I'm gonna just
See,
say this. I feel like a lot of people are assuming he's gonna go to AEW, but I'd be honestly be surprised if he goes to New Japan Strong because I feel like I definitely could see him being there for sure, having good matches over there.
I
He can
think
do
that's
both.
where he should go.
Yeah,
I think he should
I
go
think
to
he should go to
Japan.
Impact.
Yeah,
Impact
or
would be a good
Impact.
spot.
I think he'd
Impact
be
would be
I
really good too.
he'd
I
be
think he could carry that company as their world champion.
Oh yeah, I can see that definitely.
yeah, because right now Moose ain't really doing it. Like Moose is over, but he's not like over. I think they waited too long on Moose. Like
True.
AEW did on Hangman. They waited too long, and now he's got the belt. But like I don't know, I don't really care. And I honestly want Cesaro to go to New Japan. I think like the first thing like they've just picked up Grand Metalik. They picked up a lot of the ex WWE guys. I think New Japan now that the pandemic is kind of opening up a little bit. They're going to really push hard in North America. And I think if Ceasaro goes to New Japan, he'd be able to still work AEW, kind of like how Jay White and Suzuki did. But he'd be able to get more spotlight. In AEW, he's going to be lost in the shuffle, just like everybody else.
No, that is true.
But he could still
I don't think he'd get lost in the shuffle. I don't think he'd get lost in the shuffle. I think he'd have good matches. He'd have good stories.
Dude, did
but
you see the other
think
shit that went down that was announced this week? We haven't even covered the rest of the news.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's getting lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. It's very crowded there, man. It is very crowded.
It's very crowded. That's why I said Impact. I think think he would be great with AEW and put on some amazing matches, Impact I think is where he should go because he could still do New Japan there too. They've got Jay White on every show and all that.
True.
I think that
too, man, they're throwing money around.
Yeah, I think Ceasaro could be maybe not a game changer, but definitely
a big asset
for Impact. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
I think Ceasaro could be the one guy they were hoping to get with Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman, and then ended up not getting either of them. They were hoping for that one big WWE star that never really got a chance that they could highlight and then kind of take some shine off on the rest of their roster, and they just haven't been able to get one. I think Ceasaro.
I think this could be their get.
Yeah,
Ceasaro could definitely be that guy. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because we got we have like 3 other signings I just saw today with AEW. So I guess it's official with Jeff Hardy, who will finally
No, that is not official.
Really?
So Jeff Hardy did a podcast and he had said, "I'm going to AEW." Here's the problem. His non-compete clause, whatever they call it, hasn't expired yet.
Oh.
From what I understand. So he can't technically go anywhere. I'm sure he could have talks, but he can't sign with anybody or anything like that.
Dude, I'm wondering if he's not even allowed to say that. That could be a big breach of contract to say I'm going to go to
He had to retract it today.
Oh, okay.
And he came out saying AEW is the goal. I have not signed anywhere. My no-compete hasn't expired. But he said AEW is the goal.
It's definitely going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Still putting him in legal gray area.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
He needs to. Thank God he's on a good relationship with Vince, because dude,
is he?
Well, I mean, dude, he opened himself up to a pretty nasty lawsuit if that's the case. But
True.
Honestly, I can't see any of him going anywhere else. To be 100%.
Yeah, AEW is definitely going to be the spot.
He's gonna finish with Matt, and they're gonna finish the Hardy Boy run, and that's it.
Yeah, because they already kind of had their farewell run in WWE. I think if they ever go back to the E, it'll be in the Hall of Fame.
That's it. Yep.
Hall of Fame. Yeah, true.
Which is fine, man. They were there when they were there. 3 years ago?
3 years ago, yeah.
They kind of gave us all the dream matches we would have wanted. They fought the Usos, they fought the New Day. Hell, they fought Ceasaro and Sheamus. We got a lot of the dream matches. Oh, they worked with FTR too, didn't they? Yeah, dude, they got
probably.
And then the night before they debuted on WWE, they wrestled the Bucks. So it's the Hardy Boys kind of have their retirement run in the WWE. I can't think of anyone else. We never got one more match with the Dudleys or Edge and Christian, but I feel like that was so long ago and such a small part of everybody's career that it's yeah, that was a dope-ass time, but you look at what everybody else has done since then, that was literally 6 months at the beginning of their career.
Yeah. And they took some pretty big spots in those matches, too. So it's I really don't blame them for not running that rematch again with all those guys. I definitely could see why they probably didn't want to.
I don't even think they had a chance, because the Dudleys came back. Was it after Mania 32 in Dallas?
Oh, yeah. It was around 2016, right? Something like that. 2016, 15, I think.
And then the next year was 33 in Orlando, and that's when the Hardys showed up.
Yep.
Yeah. But by the following year, they weren't even the Hardys anymore.
Yeah.
Because at Mania 34, Matt Hardy was teaming with Bray Wyatt, and they did the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So we didn't even get a year with the Hardys. And I think the Dudleys, when they came back, they only had a 1-year deal because Bubba left and Devon stayed as a producer.
Yeah, but I don't think we needed a year out of the Hardys, anyways. Like
No,
WWE doesn't
we've had
have
them.
shit
Yeah.
for tag teams,
Yeah.
anyways. Like really, the matches that they needed to get out of the way were FTR, which they could do again now. But at that time, it was
Possibly good.
FTR, the Usos, and the New Day, and they did all those feuds. So it's like, who else in the WWE that they would have had, or even now that they would have, that could give us a dream match with the Hardys?
Yeah, no,
Right.
you're right. I think we got
Definitely.
the last Hardy Boy run in WWE, and it was fine enough.
I'm
It
fine with
didn't need
that.
to
Yeah,
be
I'm
some
definitely.
domination and just being on TV every. No, they were
I
good.
mean, they got the Raw
But
belts.
Got
yeah,
the Raw belts, yeah. At Mania
and that
33, that
pop
is true.
when they returned, that was probably the
Oh
loudest
man,
pop I've ever heard.
right. Yeah, that was a big reaction right there.
Yeah.
It does kind of like suck to know that like that was probably the last run we're gonna get out of the Hardy Boys in WWE. That is a little bittersweet to know. Like, yeah, it was good, and if that's it, I'm satisfied with it. But now knowing it's like, dude, they probably still have a good like couple of years left in their careers, and to know that they're never gonna go back, it's like, oh, that
Yeah.
does. But
Yeah,
they
it
were
does
indie
suck.
till they died, dude. Those guys, all the Hardy Boys, their whole little crew with fucking Shannon Moore and all of them, they were
Shane,
basically
yeah.
the indie scene that led to the Bucks and Omega, anyways. Like they
Oh,
basically
sure.
in the late '90s when they were the indie scene, those guys were doing the shit that like the Young Bucks would eventually perfect.
You
Yeah.
know what's
No,
crazy?
you're
Now
right.
that you say that, they were in. I think before they even showed up at Mania 33, they were at ROH, and they
Yeah, they
just had a
wrestled the
match with
Bucks.
the Bucks, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Dude, the
They wrestled the
Bucks.
Bucks the night before in a ladder match, then
in a
went to
ladder match. Yep.
WrestleMania and did a ladder match.
Did you guys
Right.
notice that the
Jeez.
Bucks ring gear matches the original Hardy Boys gear? Remember the sunflower shit that they used to have with the headbands and all
Mhm.
Yeah,
that? Dude,
yeah,
they
yeah.
dress the Young Bucks actually dress just like the Hardy Boys. I always thought that was a
That's
cool
the
little
point.
shout out
That
that
is pretty
people
cool.
didn't notice unless they were a really big
True.
hardcore Hardy Boys fan.
I did notice that.
Oh my gosh, you should have seen what the Bucks wore when they first started wrestling together as a team. It was short little yellow shorts, tights, like a pleather type shorts with a green dollar sign on it, and that was it. I
Damn.
first
Generation
saw
Me.
them. This was 2007 was when I first saw them live, the Bucks.
The Bucks.
I'd
Oh,
heard their
nice.
names around SoCal a little bit leading up till then, but yeah, 2007 was the first time I'd ever seen them. Yeah, little short shorts, yellow with a green dollar sign on them, coming out to Hanson's Mbop.
Man,
Wow. That's
They are
2007.
way different. Yeah, they were
Yeah,
way different
I
than what
didn't
they
expect that.
I didn't expect it either.
Yeah.
Speaking of crazy entrance music, do you guys think that AEW is going to get the rights to Shaka Khan?
What?
Because they just signed Strickland.
Oh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No.
I did see that. No,
You don't
yeah,
think so?
I don't think so.
No, they're gonna make their own song.
Oh man, I would hope they would have. That's such a big part of his act. Like when he was on the Indies, man, I love that. That was so over.
When
It's gonna-
Rich Swann was on the Indies, he would come out to All Night Long, and the crowd would just ate it up. That's one that I wish WWE picked up, but I understand why they didn't.
Yeah, well, they don't pick up nobody's song. The only time they've done that was what, like Triple H got to make a song, and then like
Yeah.
CM Punk is
Right.
the only wrestler I've ever known where he actually did get his song. No one else has ever been able to do that in WWE.
No.
They only make them.
No.
Unless
Yeah.
there's like a cross marketing thing like with Edge where like Rob Zombie had his own song that he wanted to promote, so they gave it to Edge. But it wasn't like Edge was like, "Oh man, I really love that, that jam, that classic jam." It was like, "Dude, that was a new song."
Are you talking about the Fire Burns with the CM Punk? Are you talking
No,
about it?
Cult of
Cult of
Personality.
Oh,
Personality.
oh, okay, okay.
That was a big song in the 80s, and so
Yeah.
it's like, it was like an old classic song that they gave them the rights to, and they won't do that. I get it, man. They have their own recording studio and record label. They'd rather have the rights to their own music than pay someone else. But I feel like in
Gotcha.
certain cases, I'm with Tony Khan, man. In certain cases,
Yes.
for certain guys to get their act over, I think, man, Strickland is 10 times more awesome if his entrance music is Shaka Khan.
Yeah, I'd be all for it. Like you said, Tony is definitely into doing that. That with certain guys, like we saw with Jungle Boy and Orange Cassidy.
Oh yeah, Jungle Boy. Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I think adding that song to Jurassic Express made their entrance even better.
It definitely fits them more, in my opinion.
It does. And say in Orange Cassidy, while I didn't get the song, I think it fits what he does.
Just
Type
his
of song it
character.
is, the beat.
Dude,
Yeah,
I instantly got it. I instantly got everything about Orange Cassidy sight unseen once I heard his theme song. Like when I heard that in that opening guitar riff, I was like, "Oh, he's a lazy hipster." And then I was like, "Oh wow, he really is a lazy hipster. Holy shit. That's like he's like the best lazy hipster."
if you really want to watch him go, look up Chikara. His name in Chikara was Fire Ant. He wrestled as an ant, yes, under a mask. But that was Orange Cassidy. I started watching that guy. I want to say it was like 2007, 2008, but I didn't know who he was. I just knew Fire Ant. And when his name got leaked, and then he started doing the lazy hippie millennial gimmick, I thought it was great. But yeah, dude could fly, dude could go. His stuff as Fire Ant was awesome.
Oh yeah. He's definitely one of the best things on AEW. What was
we were talking about Jeff Hardy though. I was gonna say, what do you guys think his theme is gonna be when he eventually comes in?
It'll be one of his.
Yeah,
It'll be a song of his. Yeah.
Although I do like Matt's entrance theme. I actually like that thing's kind of
hard. The Hardy family, yeah, I like that theme too.
Yeah, I can't see, even though isn't the Hardy Boys song like copyright free? It's like a public domain song. Excuse me.
Saw it on a Spike TV commercial a while back, yeah. Or whenever Spike was around.
A Spike TV, yeah. I do remember that theme, yeah.
It's a stock.
They used the Hardy Boys. They used Hardcore Holly's theme, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Hardcore Holly, man. Okay, let's not get nostalgic.
Hardcore Holly.
Let's get focused. What was there was one other signing.
To
AEW.
Buddy Matthews.
Yeah, dude.
Buddy Matthews and the House of Black got a new member.
I looked in as soon as I saw the news. I went looking up to see if someone did the Kenny Omega at home meme, and there were plenty. There were plenty of them up on the internet.
I can't tell you how many tweets I've seen about we want to see Buddy and Kenny now.
Yeah, they've got to do that. They're
going to.
Like, because
that's gonna happen definitely.
I get it, like from Buddy's perspective. Like, if you're gonna be that heavily inspired, why not be inspired by someone that good? And it's always been like an open secret. Like, he doesn't even deny it. He's like, "Yo, dude, I love Kenny Omega. Yeah, I steal his shit." So like, they gotta do that match because Kenny's he's had a good attitude about it. He doesn't really I haven't seen him get pissed off about Buddy aping half of his shit. Like, Kenny
I don't think he does. I think he gets it. Like, everyone steals something from everybody. You know, there's very little, I should say, that is new to people.
I mean, look at the spear.
Balls. Yeah, some balls using the one.
Look how many people have used the spear as a finisher. Though that is crazy.
Yeah, but that's that's just a football tackle. Like, that's saying the Shawn Michaels super kick is a finish. It's like, no, dude, everybody with feet can do it. But like the one wing angel is like, that's an extra ass fucking move, dude. It takes him like 10 minutes to set that fucking thing up, and when he's setting it up, you know exactly what he's going for. So that's why I was saying, I was like, you got some balls taking that move, because like that move right now is kind of like the Razor's Edge was in the 90s. The most protected finishing move, and it was very obvious who came up with, who was doing it, whose move that is. Very, very obvious. And like, I don't have a problem with Buddy. I think he was one of the best things going on 205 Live when he was the main character of it.
I read an interview with Buddy just last week, and he was talking about that he got a match with Roman Reigns on SmackDown, and it was all by accident. He just so happened to be in the background of a shot, and the fans like blew it up, and it was like, I think something happened, and Roman was looking for somebody, and it just so happened when Roman was walking around, Buddy was in the background, and people were like, "Oh my God, did Buddy attack him? Is that what happened?" And then he got a match with Roman. And I guess after the match, he said Roman went right up to Vince and said, "There's your next big star."
Wow.
And he's in AEW.
AEW now, right?
Hey, he might be the next big star, but he wasn't Vince's next big star.
Yeah.
was
Vince
too
is,
Not who he
short.
wanted.
He came from 205, man. Nobody from 205 is getting fucking pushed. That's not fucking happening. Like, their most over guy to come out of 205 was fucking Mustafa Ali, and he's like begging to get fired.
I wouldn't blame him after all the stuff that they put him through.
Yeah, so like Buddy coming from 205, and like, dude, that was so stupid when they put him in there. He was good, but like, he made everybody look super tiny there. So the whole time it's like, dude, why is this guy? And I get that they were doing the whole weight, like making weight gimmick with him because he was.
And it was legit, by the way.
Yeah.
He was the only one that actually had to weigh in.
Yeah, because he's not
He-
a
he-
cruiserweight in the modern sense. If we're going to make cruiserweight 205 instead of 220, which it traditionally was in real wrestling, the breakaway to heavyweight is 220. So I don't know why they went with 205. Like, is it like, oh, yeah, we're going to showcase, like, regular dudes. Like, they just look like...
Because
regular
half their
guys.
stars are under 220.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins is like 220. Seth Rollins would qualify as a cruiserweight in WCW.
Yeah, because kayfabe is dead and they can't inflate everybody's weight by fucking 50 pounds. You know, like, I bet you The Rock is probably, like, 240 right now. Max. You know? And it's like, but, you know, back then, they're like, oh, almost 300 pounds. And you're like, yeah, The Rock's not almost 300 pounds. You keep...
Look at Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, they try to put him off as 220. 225, they booked him his whole career. And I'm like, dude, that guy's lucky if he's 180.
Sean said that he's like, I wasn't even 200 pounds.
Yeah, I was like, that guy.
He was like 190.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way. So they should have just kept the cruiserweight mark at 220. But it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like cruiserweight wrestling and that cruiserweight division and cruiserweight style is just dead. It's way too dead now just because, like, I mean, who's doing a legit cruiserweight division still? New Japan
I think
is
the
only
cruiserweight
one.
title's not even around no more, right? They got rid of it.
They got rid of it. Yeah.
Wait, no, I
Yep.
thought Roderick Strong was the... Didn't he just fight the...
No, they just did a
Open-
unification match with him and Carmelo Hayes.
Oh,
Carmelo's the
yeah.
NXT North American
Right.
champ. And so they did a unification. So Carmelo beat Roddy and the title's gone. 205 Live doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It's now
great.
called NXT Level Up.
Oh, yep. I just seen they debuted that Level Up.
Yeah, like, I think that the concept of cruiserweight division, it can still work, but, like, I don't know. I see why it's getting devalued and kind of thrown away. Because, like, dude, nobody's going to consider Trent Beretta a cruiserweight. But that's what he's considered in, you know, like in New Japan.
He was in New Japan.
Yeah,
they bumped him up to the heavyweight division like his last year. But yeah, he was a junior heavyweight. He was multi-time junior heavyweight champion, tag champion.
And it's like when you look at like cruiserweights now versus back then, now we've moved away from like Big Reese. Fucking, you know, what was the other guy in WCW that was just like the Yeti? No, the Yeti was Big Reese.
That was Ron Reese.
Yeah, like, you know, that kind of shit where it was like, oh, they're just
Van Hammer.
Yeah, WWE still has that shit, but at least, like, they're trying. Like, with Omos, they're like, hey, man, we kind of, like, need you to move. You have to, like, pretend to fight. That's kind of the job, Omos. And he's, like, doing it, but for the longest time, it was like, nah, just be tall and pretend nothing hurts. And, like...
Worked for The Undertaker for a minute.
Yeah, back then you could have a cruiserweight division because most of your shit was like that, and now and the roles have reversed. Like someone like Great Khali stands out like a thumb as being just big and really shitty. In like in the past 20 years, whereas in the 90s he would have been another face in the crowd. Like Kurrigan was a mid Carter, and that guy was fucking huge because there was too many huge guys.
I think the cruiserweight divisions are drying up because everyone wrestles like a cruiserweight. There is no difference. You go look at WCW, like you mentioned, it was big guys and little guys. The cruiserweight matches were definitely a lot different than the other matches on the card. But now everybody does that. Now you've got a Bryan Danielson who is 190, 200 pounds, who is taking on guys that are 300 pounds.
Well, I think it also has to do with the death of kayfabe. Because back in the '90s, nobody was thinking Rey Mysterio was going to beat the Giant. But now, didn't Rey Mysterio beat Paul White in WWE for a belt or some shit? Like nowadays, with
Probably.
kayfabe dead, nobody fucking cares. They're like, yeah, Bryan Danielson, he could totally karate kick fucking Omos.
I think Bryan Danielson won the title off of Big Show.
Yeah, so like
the first time. Yeah.
It seems like kind of an outdated concept. Like, because I was looking, I was like, man, AEW could make a cruiserweight division, and they'd have a damn good one. They'd have the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega.
They don't want it. They don't want that.
I was like,
the Bucks didn't even want to be junior heavyweights in New Japan. Their biggest complaint with New Japan was the junior heavyweight division. It wasn't. It didn't make sense to have that separation to them. And I kind of agree with it. I like having a junior heavyweight division, but in my opinion, every title needs to be a marquee title. You look at the UFC. The UFC, if you compared it to pro wrestling, then the UFC heavyweight title would be the only title that would main event any show. Yeah. You know, you wouldn't have their middleweight title, light heavyweight title, bantamweight, featherweight. None of those would main event shows in WWE. But every single title for each different weight division makes a lot of sense for UFC. It just doesn't in wrestling anymore, in my opinion. When everyone works the style, but in wrestling, to me it's a style too for cruiserweights. When I think of cruiserweights, I think of smaller people who are just a lot quicker than everybody else. Guess what? There's a lot of smaller heavyweights that do the exact same thing as everybody else. Buddy Matthews is not a cruiserweight, but can wrestle a cruiserweight style.
Which is fun.
And be probably one of the best at it.
I think he's legit 220 too. He looks 220. That guy's yoked.
Well, like I said, he actually said that those weigh-ins, when they actually legitimately weighed him in, he had to weigh below 205. Legitimately. That wasn't an angle. He said that was legit. Because he was so big. So he cut weight to go to 205 Live.
They should have never sent him there. I mean, yeah, he worked. Some of his best work was on 205 Live. Like, goddamn, the guy is awesome. But it's like, man, he's like the same size. He's like he's shorter than Seth Rollins, but he's like the same size, you know? Like,
look at Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler, yeah.
Another small guy. I mean, but they all see, that's the thing, is everyone wrestles differently. I think with wrestling, you've got different styles. And I think that's what makes these matchups rather than a division. When you look at the junior heavyweight division in New Japan, you had somebody like Kushida, who was just, man, he was they called him the ace of the junior heavyweights. He was the Tanahashi for the junior heavyweight division for a long time, but he didn't wrestle like a junior heavyweight. It wasn't always flips and dives and stuff. He did his own, but I mean, his finish was a hammerlock basically. And the only reason he left New Japan, from what I understand, was he wanted to be a heavyweight, and they didn't want him to be a heavyweight.
So he goes to NXT and gets the cruiserweight belt.
Pretty much, yeah.
Is he still over there, or has he left yet?
He's still there from what I haven't seen anything about him getting released. He might be hurt or something, but yeah, I know he's still in NXT.
Because they were pushing him, and then, like, after he lost the belt, like, you haven't seen him on it. I haven't watched NXT, but, like, the last couple of times I did, I was like, huh, they kind of forgot that Kushida exists.
I mean, they did the same with Kenta.
Yeah.
They don't have a very good track record with these guys.
I mean, if you're not instantly Asuka, Nakamura, Kairi Sane, like, you're not going nowhere.
I also think injuries plagued Kenta and Kushida. I think Kushida got hurt shortly after getting here. Kenta blew out his shoulder not too long after getting here. And I think he would have been a top guy because they put him right with Finn Balor. I think Finn Balor actually debuted with Kenta, if I remember right, on NXT.
But I think that's the problem with the Japanese guys. They're used to working like once a month and going all out and not working 3 times a week and holding back. And they go there and they're like, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to make an impression. And then they get hurt, like the first week. And it's like, dude, you went all out yesterday. You have nothing left for today. We wrestle 3 times a week here.
They do that in New Japan. They do wrestle quite often, but they do it differently. Theirs is in tours. So they've got a big show coming up. What they'll do is for, a few weeks leading up to the show, they'll do a tour. So say their show is called The New Beginning. The whole tour leading up to it will be called Road to the New Beginning. And everyone who's in matches at the big pay-per-views or their big events are in 6-man, 8-man, 10-man tags. So you're seeing them, and on the opposite side will be one of their opponents at the big event. Um, but they're in like small matches. Like you're not going to see like Okada might wrestle 20 times in a month, but 15 of those times are probably singles match or tag matches.
Yeah.
Or more. It could be one singles match and the rest are tags. That's how New Japan goes. But when you get those singles, man, they go hard.
Yeah, and I think that's probably why a lot of those guys are getting hurt in WWE. I think the reason why
Probably.
Nakamura survived is because he was already old and beat up. So people have complained that he's phoned it in, but I think he just knew going in what it was all about and adjusted his style quickly. I don't think
That's exactly what I was
going
to
to
say.
It in. I think it's just that
he adapted.
People wanted New Japan Nakamura, and I think Nakamura knows, like, dude, I'm not doing that shit fucking 3 times a week. Fuck you.
But I'll say this. I was geeked for Nakamura and AJ for the world title at WrestleMania 34. Because I remember watching that Wrestle Kingdom where AJ and Nakamura, and that was the one where right after that it came out that they were leaving New Japan.
That was a really good match, too.
It was. And leading into WrestleMania, I was like, this is going to be the match to end all matches. This is going to be the best match of the weekend. And it wasn't.
He punched him in the balls. I don't know, man.
It wasn't.
You know what?
The low blow at the end.
That does bring me to another topic I wanted to discuss.
Well, before you move to a different topic,
go ahead.
Speaking of AEW again, they re-signed somebody or re-upped their contract. They picked up their option, I guess, for another year.
The Bucks, right?
I don't know if you guys have read.
No.
I'm actually surprised at who this was. Brian Cage.
No way.
Really?
It came out today that they extended his contract by another year. They re-upped him.
Wow.
I guess they have
coming back.
Must be
coming back. Yeah.
Because I think what they do is they'll sign you to a couple years, but then they have an option for like a third or however it works. And that's what happened with the Bucks. They signed for a couple years. Tony Khan re-upped it for the next year. And I guess same thing happened with Cage, which is very interesting. I thought that was a WWE or an Impact-bound guy.
That is kind of wow. That one kind of took me.
Yeah, that threw me off too.
I did not expect that. That must mean, you know what? Because he has been hurt, and I think they were kind of just waiting to find a slot for him while he was hurt, because he was featured quite a bit before he's been
doing indies. He's been doing indies the last number of months.
Before he got hurt, when he was doing that program with Ricky Starks, and then
he got Team Taz, yeah.
He got hurt, so they put it on hold, and then Ricky Starks got hurt again, and he's been on commentary. But it's after Brian Cage was healthy, they just didn't use him, and I think it was because everybody assumed he was going to get let go. But it seems like they just didn't have anything for him, and they didn't want him to get let go, but they didn't want to rush him.
Right.
I think he's a guy that they could have let go. Not saying anything bad about Brian. I like Brian. I think he does good work. It's just I think he could have been more utilized somewhere else. To me, he screams WWE with his size.
See,
definitely.
I think he would do better in AEW than anywhere else. Because in WWE, he's just another buff dude. Only he's a buff dude that is very obviously steroided out. Whereas all the other buff dudes in WWE look somewhat natural. I mean, none of them are, but at least they've body built themselves to have a more natural look. Whereas Brian Cage just went for pure size, so he looks as roided as he is. Whereas the WWE guys hide it. So I think over there he would stand out and make WWE kind of look bad. And I think that's why they won't touch him.
Possibly.
And in Impact, didn't he burn his bridges in Impact? Didn't he piss everybody off over there?
I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, speaking of how we were talking about Buddy Matthews earlier, how his size and stuff, it's Brian Cage is pretty similar to that. He's a big guy, but he wrestles like a cruiserweight.
Mhm.
Well, he was trained by Canyon, so that doesn't surprise
Yeah.
me. That doesn't surprise me that he's like, because Canyon was big for his time, or he was big not for his time, but he was big and he moved like a cruiserweight.
Right.
So
Right.
it doesn't surprise me that his probably best student would be a big guy who can move like a cruiserweight.
Right.
But like there
And
was,
then,
go ahead.
oh no, I was gonna say, and Buddy Matthews was part of the House of Black now. I think that's
Yep.
pretty cool.
I think it's a
Yeah.
good spot for him.
I mean, like they need to be adding people to
A lot of people
more
say that
factions, anyways, so that way people don't get
they're
lost
saying
in
it's
the
like the
shuffle.
next ministry. The next ministry. I could definitely see it, like their version of the Ministry of Darkness. Like, I definitely can see it.
I mean,
Oh, for sure. I like it.
Yeah, I just think they need to be putting more people in factions that they bring in, because like the
Mhm.
faction thing works in AEW. Like I couldn't name like when I first started watching, I couldn't name anybody in the Dark Order, but at least I knew what the Dark Order was. So like if Stu Grayson was out there and I didn't know his name, but I knew he was in the Dark Order, I at least knew a little bit of context. Right now, like you have a lot of young people who didn't watch wrestling 10 years ago because they didn't exist 10 years ago. They don't know who the fuck Jay Lethal is and why he's a big deal.
Right.
And
Right.
like there's a lot of guys like that. I think that's why it took so long for Ethan Page to find his footing, because they just kind of said, "Oh, he's a big star from Impact. Let's throw him in there and like he'll get over." And he didn't, because like nobody watches Impact. So nobody knew who the fuck Ethan Page was. And it took him forever to like get to the point now where Ethan Page is a legit AEW star. But they could have fast tracked that if they would have thrown him in a faction, because he would have stood out, just like MJF stood out when he was in the Inner Circle. You know, like all those guys in factions, they always, somebody always shines.
That is true. I definitely think the House of Black is definitely gonna be a big threat. I think in the future when it comes to like Malachi going for the.
Hello?
Yo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
trailed
I
off
no,
there
I
for a
agree.
second.
Oh,
I agree.
did I cut out?
Yeah, a little bit.
Sorry about
Oh, but yeah, I agree. I think the House of Black is a great thing, and I think maybe they're taking all these faction ideas kind of from New Japan, because that's what New Japan does. While these guys go out there as factions, you're not necessarily seeing guys. It's like they're representing a faction, but the faction doesn't make them. If
Right.
that makes any sense.
That is true.
Like you got you have Los
Okada.
Ingobernables, you got Chaos, you've
Yeah,
got Bullet
Chaos.
Club, you've got
Suzuki Gun.
oh man, there's so many. Suzuki Gun. Oh, I love Suzuki Gun. When they came back from Pro Wrestling Noah and they showed back up at New Year's Dash in New Japan a few years back, oh my god, I was so geeked to see Suzuki.
Right?
And Suzuki's back in the States. Oh man.
Oh,
I think he's
nice.
going to do another tour of everybody, because he did what he
He's
did.
already signed for like 5 GCW shows.
Oh, you know GCW is going to pay whatever it takes. He's like a
Oh,
beloved,
yeah.
a beloved legend to them. But like he did what? He did AEW, Impact, GCW. Didn't he do an MLW show as well?
I don't recall. He
fucking
did a
worked
bunch
for
of
everybody.
indies.
Didn't he
Yeah.
do AAA as well?
I don't know. I saw him doing a lot of West Coast shows.
He was here. For
Yeah, he was
9
just
months, and
around.
he did everybody's fucking territory out here.
Mhm.
Fucking
And I remember when he
legend.
fought Bryan Danielson, though, that crowd was hyped for that match. Whew.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
that is
I
the
know.
one guy that my wife just geeks out for. She doesn't mark out for a lot, but she marks out for Suzuki. When we were at All Out and his name appeared on the screen, and because when Moxley was in the ring and some music started, she didn't recognize the opening riff of his song. So I'm
Right.
watching her, and then all of a sudden his name appears. She starts crying and jumping up and down, like totally marked out for Suzuki.
That's freaking
Yeah,
cool.
that's one of her favorite
That's that.
wrestlers.
Yeah, Suzuki,
Yeah.
man. He's a legend.
That's
Legend.
Not gonna lie to you.
My wife doesn't really have a favorite wrestler. She just has unfavorite wrestlers. Like she fucking hates CM Punk. She's rolling her eyes
What?
right now. She's rolling her eyes right now, dude. Every time
Hey.
Punk personality hits, her eyes go immediately to the phone. She fucking hates CM Punk.
Well, don't watch Dynamite then.
She hates CM Punk,
Alright.
but she loves MJF. So there's that. I think maybe
MJF is
MJF
a
would
good
probably
heel.
be her favorite wrestler. MJF or Sting.
He's a good heel. Not gonna lie, MJF has been killing it.
Right?
Apparently, he cut a promo. I haven't watched Dynamite last night.
Yeah,
I got
neither
spoiled
have I.
on who showed up, but apparently there's a promo between him and Punk last night that was amazing. So,
Oh, it was a pretty crazy promo. Like even Punk came out and he just couldn't believe it. I was like, wow.
and
Pretty.
I guess Dynamite overall was really good.
It was a solid show. I think it was a solid
Nice.
show.
I'm excited to watch it when we're done with this.
Like I'm gonna, as soon as we cut the podcast, I'm gonna hit it. But yo, before we go, okay, because I've been holding on this topic, and we got like 20 minutes left. Dog, we are actually on the cusp of AJ versus Edge. We need to discuss that before we go anywhere, because dog, I did not realize we've never gotten that. And I'm like,
that's a dream match.
Both of those guys' peak was at the same time. They're like 2010s era main eventers. And like, and I thought about it, I was like, oh yeah, we have gotten AJ versus Cena. We did finally get AJ versus Orton. We never got AJ versus Edge, who was the next biggest star of that era. And like, AJ's pushing for it. And I think Edge wants it. Dude, they better fucking give it to us. That
That's
would
gonna
get me
happen.
to watch. I would watch WrestleMania for that. I was not planning on watching WrestleMania, but like for AJ versus Edge, I think I could commit the like fucking 8 hours.
That's gonna be big. I definitely think that's gonna be big.
I can't wait. If they do AJ versus Edge, that match is that's gonna be amazing.
But it's
I already can see it. I already can see AJ going for a phenomenal forearm and Edge just fearing him. Like it's just gonna be a crazy spot right there.
Dude, oh man, like just thinking about it, like it sucks because it's them in their 40s. Like imagine if we got that match 10
definitely
years
in their
ago,
prime. Oh man,
the rated.
What are you talking about? I think AJ is better than ever before.
I think
AJ is at the top of his game now.
Edge isn't nearly.
No, he's not. But AJ could pull out a match out of a dirty diaper. You know.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean that match is gonna be awesome.
I think AJ now is better than AJ from 2011, but I don't think the Edge we have now like is the Edge.
He's definitely. You could tell he's definitely slowed down for sure.
He had to. I mean, he even said it. Like, he's like, I had to adjust my style just because of what happened to his neck.
True.
I mean, I'm just happy we got him back. Whether it's even if it's just for a couple of years, man, we got Edge back to end it the right way. You know, that's what matters.
Yeah,
maybe the rumor also is it's Damian Priest.
Dude, because like a lot of people that didn't watch wrestling, 10 years ago, like, dog, AJ Styles was the fucking face of TNA. Him and Samoa Joe were the two guys you had dream matches with, right? If you think about AEW right now, like the guy you have dream matches in WWE with is probably Kenny Omega and the Bucks. But back then, 10 years ago, it was Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. And the unfortunate thing is most of the stars from their era are gone. So yeah, we do get AJ Styles in the WWE, but he's fighting fucking Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns and not, John Cena and Edge. And we did get John Cena, right? But we never got Edge. We never got, we did get Undertaker. But like we
got Randy too.
Yeah, we did get Randy. It's a slow drip, but there's still too many that we've never gotten. And like Edge versus AJ Styles is one of those dream matches I never thought we would get.
Yes, I agree. I never thought we would have gotten John Cena and AJ. And every single one of those matches were just
SummerSlam.
I'm surprised that wasn't a WrestleMania.
Money in the Bank.
Nope. Should have been.
Definitely WrestleMania worthy. Yeah.
Yeah.
AJ just signed a new deal too with $3 million. I was like, yo, man, it's deserved though, man. He's worked his ass off, man. I'm not surprised.
No, and he should end his career there, in my opinion.
Definitely, yeah, I definitely could see him ending it with WWE for sure.
I see him being an agent in the next 2 years.
He's already said when he's done he wants to work for the company.
Like I see him in the next 2 years as an agent and like slowing it down. Because I think that's why he's going so hard right now is because he knows this is his last run. So he's not phoning.
Oh, he did, yeah.
But like, dude, the wrestling landscape's going to be very, very different in like the next 2 years. Because I imagine AJ's done soon. Nakamura is probably done soon. Kenny Omega's talking like he's done now.
Yeah, no, I've been hearing about that. I've literally been hearing about that. I'm like, yo, like, man, if he's going to be nice, he's got to go through a lot of matches, but man, that'd be crazy if he ends up like, being done with wrestling completely.
I don't think he will. I think he's gonna take a long time off to
I'm
heal.
the heel,
What's
yeah.
it been since November? I mean, we're only on month 3 since he's taken time off.
Oh yeah, I think he's probably gonna be back probably like later this year, like at
A
the end of
year,
the
yeah.
year. Yeah.
You think he'll show
Yeah, I
up at
think he'll come back
WrestleMania?
at full gear this year in November.
I definitely can see that.
Like, but I'm just saying that like a lot of the stars now today are approaching or at their mid 40s.
Sure.
You know, like it's kind of crazy. Finn Balor's what, 40? Like straight
41,
away.
yeah.
40,
You know?
yeah.
So we think like in a couple of years, the entirety of the main event scene is gone. Like as it is right now, everybody that's a main eventer is gone in like 5 years. That's kind of insane. And I mean, they're
Maybe.
building up their
Crazy.
stars. Like MJF is going to pick up the ball. You know, Darby Allin, they'll pick up the ball. There's stars to follow.
Oh, sure.
But it's just kind of crazy to think about it. It's like, yo, dude, the impetus on AJ versus Edge is actually pretty rough because like they don't have a lot of time to get it.
Yeah. I think they will, though.
Definitely.
I think there aren't too many matches left in Edge, and so they have to get some of these dream matches out.
Sure. And he wants to do it too. You know, that's the thing too. He wants to have these bangers and just go out on top. That's what he wants. And I think he will. I think he'll take himself out. It won't be like Undertaker, won't be like Mick Foley. He'll take himself out when he's at his peak of this return, I think. Kind of like a Shawn Michaels. When we lost Shawn at WrestleMania 26,
I can see that.
I mean, dude, he probably still had a good couple of years left.
At least, yeah, in my opinion, definitely. He was probably hurt though.
Oh, I'm
I'm not
sure.
gonna- Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but all it
But-
takes is a one giant Saudi check, and you know,
Oh, came back.
everybody's
Yeah.
coming back. That's like the thing everybody's talking about Stone Cold. They're like, if he comes back, he's doing WrestleMania and one Saudi show, and it's like, that's like so sad that we know that that's true. They're like, oh yeah, we know if Austin comes back, he's gonna get a Saudi check. He's gonna go over.
Been
there
hearing
and
some
win.
people like being upset that Kevin Owens is going to be his first opponent. I'm fine with it honestly because I know Kevin Owens would sell for Austin. So.
He's gonna bump his ass off for Austin.
Oh yeah.
And come on, that's like his favorite wrestler. Come on.
Yeah. It's obvious, bro. It's going to be a good match.
Dude, that's,
And more than likely, Austin's the one who requested it if it does happen. Because I'm sure they probably pitched him a bunch of people. I mean, look at Kurt Angle's retirement match. It was Baron Corbin. That
Oh,
match
yeah.
sucked.
Oh,
and
dude.
Kurt's come out and said, I wanted John Cena. That's who I wanted, but the
It should have
company
been
didn't.
John Cena. Definitely. I think it
But
should have been Cena for sure.
I think Austin has enough clout and enough stroke with Vince that he goes, if he says, I want Kevin Owens and nobody else, he's getting Kevin Owens.
well,
I definitely can see that.
I think also with Kurt Angle, they were kind of looking at what they could get out of him, and it was clear that he wasn't going to work a big like Kurt Angle matchup. I don't know why they stuck him with Baron Corbin. I'd have put him with somebody that could bump. Like, dude, some of Angle's best matches were with Rey Mysterio. I'd have thrown his ass in there. If you're gonna put over a young guy, put over Finn Balor. You know,
Sure.
like throw his ass in there with like a little guy that can bump for him and make him look like he's still, you know, Kurt Angle. You know, because it's a move.
Cena could have done that, though.
Yeah, but like,
Cena's not to the point where he's over the hill and can't work. Like, yeah, there's things that you saw with Kurt's last run where he was just a hair off on a lot.
But what's
You know, it wasn't like he was bad. He was just off. And you could tell he was just too slow for everything. But John has wrestled everybody. John knows when to slow it down. John knows when to speed it up. Not saying that the guys that Kurt worked in his last run didn't, because
He
I
had
know
a good
they
match
did.
with Drew. He had a good match with Drew on Raw.
I thought his
remember that.
match with Chad Gable was awesome too.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, why are you going to sit there? You're going to retire Kurt Angle. You want to build a
Yeah.
star off that. Like, why are you going to retire Kurt Angle off?
Well,
the
that's
back
why
of
they
John
that's why they
Cena?
put him on Baron Corbin.
Which was a waste. Like Baron Corbin, like I
They were
get it.
trying to make Baron Corbin.
They
But
wanna
at the
make
same
him.
token, to me, a retirement match, man, that's got to mean something. Not just in
definitely
a
gotta mean
feud.
something.
You
Yeah.
know, like you got Taker and Shawn for Shawn's last match. you got Kurt and Corbin, and I like Baron Corbin. I think he's a lot of people don't like him because he was an ex-football guy, wasn't on the Indies, and he actually uses that to his heel advantage. But man, Kurt is Kurt. Kurt is a legend. You should have put him up with John.
I think what it was
Yeah, it
that
definitely makes sense.
they saw that they weren't going to get much out of him. So like when we saw his work, dude, that guy looked like he was gonna break every time he bumped. And so they were like, all right, who can we throw in there to like build that isn't going to have expectations that are going to expose how bad Kurt Angle is right now. And I think Baron Corbin was that. If anything, if the match is bad, people are going to blame Baron Corbin, and Kurt can still walk away with his dignity. But if the match is good, then hey, man, awesome. And the match ended up being bad. And guess what? Everyone blames Baron Corbin. Nobody looks at the fact that Kurt Angle was legitimate.
Oh, I blame Kurt.
That match was bad.
I blame Kurt.
Kurt could not work at that point. Like, he was broken.
Oh, definitely not.
Stay away from a ring. And, like, that's why. Honestly, I feel like his last match before coming back to WWE should be considered his last match. Because his last match before that run, didn't he, like, work with, like, Matt Hardy or something? It was, like, a pretty bad.
He worked like he worked Cody out in the UK. Yeah, he did a tour of the UK and did a bunch of indie matches before he came back. And I didn't see them all, but I never heard really bad things about it either. So I don't know. I don't know what it was with Kurt on his last run with WWE. I don't know.
I think he was just kind of broken. Like I think Kurt thought he was in better shape than he was.
I'm gonna tell you guys. I think that I don't know if you guys are gonna agree, but I feel like Kurt had a lot of good matches in TNA more than WWE.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
For sure. For sure. Dude, his that run he had with Samoa Joe was, oh my god.
And even with Mr. Anderson, bro, that was a good feud. I honestly think that was a really good feud.
I consider him more of a TNA guy than a WWE guy. He was only in the WWE for like what, 2 years, 3 years? He was in TNA.
No, it was longer than that.
It was like a good 6 years, probably. I would say.
Yeah, he came in like 1999, I want to say, and then I think he was gone by like 2005.
Yeah,
5, 6, or 06 area.
He was the face of TNA from that point on.
Yes.
The larger portion of his career was in TNA compared to WWE.
Absolutely. Even if you include his first and second run in WWE, I think he was still in TNA longer.
Oh man, they booked him strong too. He was the wrestling machine when he came in TNA. So it was like, oh man.
I loved his theme song. It reminded me of there's this old wrestling movie, not pro wrestling, high school wrestling movie from the 80s. Oh shoot, I just lost the name of it. Matthew Modine is in it. Oh man, Vision Quest. That's what it's called. If you haven't seen Vision Quest, go out and watch it. Just the training scenes and the music behind it, it's so good. But they had one of the songs from Vision Quest. It sounded like it inspired Kurt's theme song. And it was the song of the very last match from Vision Quest. And the very beginning of Kurt's song has the very similar intro as that song did. Oh man, that pumped me up. That song was awesome.
It's crazy because Kurt came in at like the time when TNA was on fire too. So it was like came in at the right time, literally.
Yeah, he's the face. You know what? And oddly enough, I consider Sting more of a TNA guy than a WCW guy. I think
I agree.
I think it's weird,
definitely
but I consider him because, like, dude, in WCW, yeah, he that's where he blew up. But like, you think about the way WCW used him. Like, he was kind of a whipping boy for Vader and Ric Flair, and then he was a whipping boy for Hulk Hogan. Like, he was never really like given the chance to be the Sting that he was in TNA, where he was like the show revolved around Sting in TNA for a while. Whereas in WCW, there were small points where he was the champ and the main babyface, but for the most part, he was kind of there to get over Ric Flair and Vader. And then when Hulk Hogan was in the NWO, he was just kind of there to get Hulk Hogan over. I mean, you could say that
he had a whole year-long angle with Sting in the NWO, though.
Yeah, and what did they do with it? They put Hulk Hogan over. Sting won.
No, Sting won the belt.
Exactly, he won that match, and they still put Hulk Hogan over.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. It was from Bret Hart's. When Bret Hart was the special ref.
Yeah, so like Sting,
that match sucked.
they never used Sting right in WCW. Oddly enough, go back and watch like his body of work and where he was placed on the card and what they did with him. And I feel like they never really used Sting the way TNA did. TNA knew what they had. They respected Sting more than any. Nobody has used Sting the way TNA did. I think they're even doing.
Well, it's because at the time TNA didn't have Hogan. If TNA had Hogan, Sting would have been number 2.
Yeah, and I mean when Hogan came in,
Oh,
Sting would, But what I'm saying is like TNA. I think a lot of people discount that promotion, but in the grand
Bro,
scheme
I
of
was just gonna
wrestling,
say that. Like, they don't get talked about enough, in my opinion. Like, the old TNA days were great, bro. Like, a lot of quality matches. A lot of people don't talk about.
even now,
I
TNA
will
has
go
good
on
matches.
Pluto TV. I had downloaded that Pluto TV app, and every now they have a TNA wrestling channel.
Yeah.
And every now and again, I'll put it on and I'll just watch it. It's all TNA stuff from like 06, 07, 08.
07, yeah, good,
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my
good
God.
time.
I was watching like Samoa Joe, Alex Shelley. Oh, it was when
Elix
Kevin Nash
Skipper.
and Alex Shelley was in there. But, dude, Elix Skipper's walking Hurricane Rana off the top of the cage, and I think that was to Chris Harris. I forget who it was to.
Oh, off the
Man,
top
that
of the
still
cage,
gets
yeah.
shown. Still
Oh
gets
man,
shown.
that
Dude.
spot is crazy too.
Yeah, they also have that on Twitch. If you go on Twitch, you can go to the Impact Twitch, and it's basically
Oh, okay.
the same feed as on Pluto.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So they're just basically dual streaming that one feed of the same matches. But yeah, I'll sit there and I'll smoke a bowl and I'll spend all day watching the Impact fucking 24/7 stream. And you just, man, once you watch it, you're just like, dude, Impact gets undersold so much. Like they just get
I
so
wouldn't.
shit on.
Yeah. I wouldn't say they revolutionized the business like an ECW did, but the people that came through TNA and came out of TNA, the people that TNA made, are the stars of today.
True.
You
A lot of
can't
people shine
discredit.
like crazy in TNA.
Yeah,
Everybody
you
that's on the top of
cannot
the
discredit
card.
TNA.
Everybody on the
Yeah.
top of the card. Look, Drew McIntyre, fucking Xavier Woods, like who?
Bobby Lashley,
Bobby
dude.
Lashley, like all of those guys fucking came through Impact at some point. In the case of Drew McIntyre, the only reason why he's at the top of the card is because of Impact and what he did over there.
His indie run after he left WWE or got released, man, he set himself apart. You knew he was going back, and you knew it was going to be big time.
Yeah.
True. He changed his character completely, his whole image completely. Like
Everything.
Yeah, I think people need to look into Impact a lot more. Like I think because when I had kind of walked away from watching wrestling, I still casually watched Impact because they just like I'm a fucking mark for the X Division. I'm not gonna lie, dude.
Yeah.
If I see
the
that
X Division
fucking
was a
belt,
cool,
I'm like, yo, I gotta watch
cool
this.
match though. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, I think the X Division was such a cool match though. Like they had, or what was it, Ultimate X? I mean,
Ultimate X, yeah.
yeah.
It's just
It's
so
so
cool.
innovative, right?
Yeah.
And even whether you had a 6-sided or a 4-sided ring, I think that type of match is really cool. Just different.
Right? I just love that I can't explain the X Division. Like when I tried to introduce my wife to Impact and I'm trying to explain the X Division, I'm like, well, it's like the Cruiserweight division, but there's no weight class. And she's like, so it's just a regular belt. Yeah, it is just a regular belt. But it's like a Cruiserweight division.
Yeah.
It's just like basically, dude.
There's no weight limit though.
I like that they call it the X Division because it's basically, yo, dude, these are our flippy guys. But they can't name it the flippy guy division, so they call it the X Division. But it's like those of us that love the flippy shit, like we know what we're getting. It's like, oh yeah, X Division. And even when Samoa Joe was the champ, and they were like, yeah, dude, we got a fat dude as the X Division champ. That's how much we're not a cruiserweight belt. And even he was doing fucking flippy shit.
Dude, he's so good. I mean, and to that point, when I ran my own wrestling company, we brought in a secondary singles title. We called it the Lightning Division, or no, Rapid Division. That's what we called it, the Rapid Division title. We didn't have weight limits, but it was this is where you're going to see your faster paced matches. So it didn't matter if it was a cruiserweight or a heavyweight. You know, if you can work that style, that's what we booked those matches for.
See, you could do so much booking with that too. I think that a lot of like the problem with wrestling innovation is they don't innovate around the rules. And like, dude, having a rapid division, imagine instead of it's a cruiserweight division, this is the rapid division. These guys are fast, right? So like, you just have a
Right.
shorter time limit. And that's the gimmick.
Sure.
And you don't have to have the time like be a factor, right? Nobody fucking pays attention to the ring, the timekeeper, right? But if you just said, yeah, these matches are for a 3-minute time limit, it's gonna be fast. Like, that's how much they're getting anyways. The cruiserweights on any card are generally getting between 3 and 5 minutes, occasionally 15 to blow off a feud. But for the most part, here you go, 3 minutes, do a couple of moonsaults and go home, right? So like, you could actually work that into the angle of the belt.
Yeah. Speaking of divisions with unique rules, have you guys seen anything about the Ring of Honor Pure title or watched any of the Ring of Honor Pure matches?
Oh yeah, where like everything.
I've definitely been hearing about it. Definitely.
Kind of, but the different rules, like they with like rope breaks, I think you only get 3.
Yeah.
So if you're in a submission and you break it by grabbing the rope, boom, you only have 2 more rope breaks. And the way that they do it is really cool. So because you can use it offensively or defensively. So if nobody has any rope breaks, you can hit somebody with a finish and hold the ropes to pin them.
Wow. I didn't know that.
The
I didn't know
rules
they
are
did
just
that.
so unique. Yeah. And there's different rules about what you can and can't do during the match. But this is why like a Jonathan Gresham was one of the ones that was big behind bringing that back in the last couple of years for Ring of Honor. But yeah, dude, those matches are just so unique in how you have to strategize, or even, since it is predetermined play fighting, it's the way you would put that match together is just so different than you'd put any other match together. And it's just a normal one-on-one match, not like you're going for like a ladder match or a tables or something like that. Man, that is cool. I like that idea for matches. I like seeing those unique things where it's not necessarily, oh, this is just our secondary title. This is our secondary title, but you got to follow these rules to fight for it.
Yeah, I don't like the
I like that.
original secondary titles because, like, dude, how many people from America have actually held the United States title? Like, Nakamura was the Intercontinental Champion for a year, and the Intercontinental Champion is champion of North and South America. Like, it was a Japanese dude. So, like, the
D'Lo Brown was the champion of Europe.
Hey, but he was
Oh,
actually
that is true.
He was a legit European. Okay, that run was legendary, and he really gave his all for the people of Europe during the '90s. But like I like those special rule set titles. Like that's why I'm kind of sad that the hardcore belt went away and they turned it into the 24/7 belt, which is stupid. Because I was like, oh cool, a belt that like, because like why would I go for the Intercontinental belt when there's a world belt? Like what's the fucking point of fighting over second place? But when it has a different rule set, right? Imagine like with the hardcore title, like when Rhino had it and he came from ECW and it's like, dude, I am the best at this style. Yeah, I can't beat Stone Cold under the rules, but Stone Cold can't last in my rules. And they could do that shit, and they don't do that. They're just like, oh yeah, he's the best guy from like America, but he's Japanese.
Right.
I was kind of hoping, like with the TNT and TBS titles for AEW, I honestly think those should only be defended on those networks.
Well, I like the gimmick with those, though, that the world title is the one that you have to rank up to get, whereas the TNT title is the open challenge title. And that anybody can go to Tony Khan and request a match. So I like that it's like that, and it does kind of play into the whole, like, we don't have a secondary belt. It's because our belts mean different for each, each division. Like, I kind of like that, but it is kind of stupid seeing the TNT belt on Rampage. Or, I mean, on Dynamite.
Dynamite, yeah.
Dynamite, yeah.
That's why I was like, keep the TBS belt on TBS, keep the TNT belt, but I think it should be defended weekly. That's where I go different. Like, I think that those belts, I would classify them as TV titles. While you're still going to see those defenses at pay-per-views, those are titles that you should see defended on TV on a more constant basis. And you do. You definitely see that more than the world title, that's for sure. And I like that. I like it that way. I like that you don't see Hangman Adam Page or Kenny Omega or John Moxley or Chris Jericho wrestling every single week. But I think it should be more like the TV titles, like the WCW TV belt, where it should have got defended every week, or at least every other week. It should be one of the more defended belts.
The TV title is so underrated from WCW, man. That belt made so many fucking people.
I like the ECW TV title too.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie.
TV title,
Oof.
ECW's made RVD, but WCW,
Yeah.
man, that shit made Fit Finley, that shit made Benoit, it made Booker T, it made Rick
Jericho had it.
Singles, it made Jericho, it made Dean Malenko, like that. It made Perry Saturn, like fuck, dude, that TV title belt in WCW, like that was the shit.
That was the one thing I wish other companies picked up was a TV title like thing. You could even have a belt that's just only defended on television, not on pay-per-view. You'll never see this belt on a pay-per-view because it's always defended on television.
Right.
I'm surprised they don't have a title belt that they could defend on Dark or Dark Elevation. You know, just something that keeps it separate. Like Impact has their digital media championship that they show the matches on YouTube. I think that's awesome. That makes sense to me.
It makes sense, definitely.
The idea was at Dark because they had Kenny Omega showing up. Was that the actual main roster champions would show up on Dark? But that just hasn't been the case. Like
not lately.
Not lately. Like since they switched up Dark, like you're never seeing Hangman on there. Like occasionally you'll get a Bryan Danielson match, but for the most part they've pretty much made
because he's under a hood. So Bryan's wrestled on Dark under a hood.
Well, and what is it, Fuego Dos? But I heard Fuego Dos just got released.
Yeah, Fuego Dos doesn't. Son of Fuego does not work for AEW anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Nope. Son of Fuego.
Gone, dude.
Oh, Son of Fuego. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. I love that tag team. Too Fast, Too Fuego.
They were really, really good, but I don't know, man. Yep. I imagine Son of Fuego. Like I heard there's interest in him from the WWE, so we'll see how that works out. But like for now,
that could be a nightmare position for him.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll go for the American Championship. I wonder if that would be a nightmare for.
I'm curious to see how WWE is gonna bring in Cody though. That's my
dude. You just are living in an airport right now, are you not? Listen, I don't want to be the one to smarten you up for the business, but you do know that Son of Fuego was Cody, right?
Oh, he was?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, shit.
Oh, man. I didn't
Oh, yeah. They even put makeup on him to cover the neck tattoo.
So I thought it was a completely different guy.
No, that was Cody Rhodes.
That was Cody the whole time. Wow.
Yeah.
That was Cody, unfortunately. Dude, I wanted to run with them against the Jurassic Express. I wanted a feud, at least on Dark.
If you go back and watch some Dark episodes and you see a guy wrestling as Infinito, it's Bryan Danielson.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Yeah, he's been on there once or twice. As Infinito.
Yeah, he's done it. I haven't seen it lately, but yeah, he did a couple Dark matches under a complete hood, bodysuit that went down to his wrists and full on pants. You could see it's Bryan Danielson's body style, but if someone didn't say, "Hey, that's Bryan Danielson," you might not know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's that fucking good. But it looks like we're out of time, dudes.
Damn.
I'm out. An hour just flew.
So we'll probably wrap it up here. But
sounds good to me,
guys. Social medias and all that.
Hey, you guys want to give me a follow? It's XDave on Twitter, on Twitch. Definitely catch me there.
Ryan Stone SD on Twitter.
Right, and I'm SoCal Honey Badger. You're already watching this on my fucking channel. But like, comment, and subscribe. I want to thank you guys for stopping by, and I will catch y'all next week.
Awesome.
All right. See you guys.
Later.